Hygrophila Serpyllum is a fairly new plant coming to us all the way from India. A fantastic new option for a bright green foreground plant that I would 100% classify as easy. A few months ago, I was asked a pretty interesting question that had a few caveats to it. Somebody was interested in a lower tech carpeting aquarium plant that was new to the hobby, so it was rare and easy to grow. At the time, I said, let me get back to you on that, because I had received this plant from Liquid Creations maybe a couple weeks before. Now, the Hygrophila Serpyllum is a very interesting plant coming out of what looks to be Western India, though that still seems to be kind of a question. It does actually happen to come from India. It's just where seems to be a point of discussion, and I don't know why. But needless to say, relevant as to where this plant comes from is more of a conversational point than anything else, so let's just say it comes from India. I have this in 4 different tanks right now to test whether some of the hypothesis on water quality or water parameters is really that specific. Now, I have this in higher calcium tanks, so a little bit harder water. With high CO2 and high light, grows fine. I have it obstructed in lower CO2, even softer soft water, grows just fine. And my other 2 tanks, they fall right in between there, grows just fine. Now, you will see some slight differences from this plant depending on the habitat that you're growing it in. If you basically have it in no light, it's going to reach up, right? It's going to grow up higher in search for more light. If you have it in a higher light tank or more centralized where there's more light, it's going to grow more in a carpeting form like it is in the video here. See, it sort of just relentlessly meanders around and will eventually carpet, but you do need to trim this to keep it in the area that you want it to stay in, because as you can see, it will crawl over objects and continue to root and continue to just grow all over anything that's in its path. Which does bring me to a point that aqua soil is a good addition for any planted aquarium, but it does not seem to be that necessary for this plant. I realistically think, I haven't tested this out yet, but I think if you just had plain old gravel in your aquarium, this plant would figure it out. Now, typically a plant like this that would grow just about anywhere is normally subject to having really tough leaves or something like that. This plant actually is really delicate. It has these really delicate light green flower leaves that look like little pond lilies, realistically. That's kind of the weird off shape of them, though they do start out kind of with a teardrop shape, and they eventually do kind of mature into these little tiny bright green lily pad shaped leaves. Overall, my experience with this plant has been that it is very easy to grow. I am fertilizing it with a little bit of Easy Green from Aquarium Co-op, though it seems pretty much any comprehensive fertilizer will supply this plant with all of the nutrients that it needs without really worrying about too many limitations. Obviously it needs light, obviously it needs healthy water. What are my temperatures? As it's the summertime right now, my tanks are running a little bit warmer than normal at about 78 degrees, although I normally have them around the area of 76 degrees. And my Pleco tank is a little bit higher, just because of the nature of that tank. It is sitting at about 79, 80 degrees. I haven't gone any higher, and I certainly haven't tried a lower temperature yet, so I couldn't really give you an exact temperature range other than mid 70s to 80 seems to work just fine, and I haven't run into any kind of problems. Trimming and maintenance is on the higher level. As I mentioned, this will end up carpeting quite a bit, so I will remind people that if you do get this plant, beware, you're going to have to do some maintenance, and that in the form of trimming and taking care of it. Otherwise it will probably take over the whole entire tank. I'm super stoked to have found this plant. I'm super stoked that it has grown as well as it has. I think if anybody gets this plant from a good source that has been grown underwater, you're going to do fine. So, Plant Tuesday seems complete. One last thing before we go. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. If you want to see more and more content like this for a long time to come, you could always hit the join button down there. Costs about $5 a month, or you could head over to Patreon for a little as $1 a month and help support the programming here on this channel. Otherwise, I'll see you later. Today's shout out goes out to Barbara Jackson, one of the oldest, well, not oldest, longest running supporters of the channel here. She's not the oldest supporter in the channel here. That title's somebody else's. But she has been a long-standing, awesome supporter of the channel and just an awesome overall person. Big shout out to Barbara Jackson. Thank you very much for your long-time support. I appreciate it, and I will talk to you all later. I seen the giant spider earlier today, but not currently. Bye-bye.